Hello, everyone. This is the third ever episode of Frame Fest. I am Martin Roselli, also known as Say Stuff, and I'm here with my dear and beloved friend.
Mickell Pickell. I was gonna say, that was
Yeah.
the creepiest intro I've heard. Yeah.
Good.
Hello.
That wasn't my intention, but good.
Today's gonna be good. I'm really excited for this one in particular.
Hey, Mike,
Hmm.
you can become a hero.
Martin, hit me with the feels already. My Hero Academia has just been such an adventure, man. Like, there's so much has happened in less than 50 episodes. I'm honestly really excited to see where it's going, but I want to take this time, this podcast, to kind of reflect on how far it's come as a series, both from its inner perspective, so what the show is, what it's about, as well as its effect on anime as a whole and the industry itself. So let's try to start off straight up by talking about the very first episode. Okay.
Yeah. So, as you probably have guessed, this is a special My Hero Academia and My Hero Academia alone. If you're here for video games, we will have video games specials eventually. But in the meantime, Mike, can you please let us, for the uninitiated, know what My Hero Academia is about?
All right, and just to clarify, there will indeed be spoilers, so keep in mind, if you're not up to date on the 17th of May 2018, I warn you. So.
Wow, that sounded so ominous.
Oh, well, there's just so much to tell. In regards to the very beginning of My Hero Academia, we start off with a boy whose name is Izuku. Midoriya will pronounce his name, or Deku. Keep that in mind. This character is born without a said quirk. Now, in this universe, quirks are abilities entitled to certain humans that have been deemed inordinary. You'd have people like people who can breathe fire, people who can stretch their arms, people who can control things with their mind. These things all became a normality in this society.
And it should be probably noted that those quirks have to be, can be anything as crazy as you can imagine. Most of the population has them, and they've been around for a bit.
Yep. They're also biological too. So it's been said that parents who inherit quirks, transfer those quirks onto their childs, and it continues so on and so forth. Now, Deku, or Midoriya, remember, we'll be switching between those names from here and there, is a character who was born without quirks, which makes him really, really interesting. He's just a normal, simple person, but in this time, in this day and age where people inherit these abilities, everyone's dream job is to be a hero. Well, most. They say almost everybody wants to. Deku, above all else, really wants to be a hero, just like his hero, a character called All Might, who I love him so much, Martin.
Who doesn't? And he's also very central to the plot because he's essentially the idyllic image of a hero. And I cannot stress this enough, but I cannot stress enough the fact that despite that, he is a character. He's a full character.
Absolutely, man. He's not just some kind. I mean, he's referred to as the symbol of peace, but he's literally just not some kind of symbol that's a wish-washy sort of thing. He's a fleshed-out character with a backstory and everything.
Yeah.
Back onto the topic. So Deku absolutely adores this hero named All Might. Again, amazing character. And he wants to be just like him because All Might has this personality where he will fight villains and be in a situation where all odds are stacked against him, but he will smile throughout and swedge his promise to the people that they'll be okay because he's here. Deku absolutely loves this idea, so he wants to go to an academy where they train heroes. Naturally, all odds are stacked against him as he does not have a quirk, but needless to say, I can't go into too much detail because I really, really wish you guys would see it if you haven't already, but there is an exceptionally powerful scene where he confronts All Might, and All Might tells him flat out that you can be a hero, solely because Deku did something that not many contemporary heroes did, and that was run in to help somebody without hesitation. Despite knowing all odds are stacked against him, Deku ran in to save his friend, who again has no quirks at all. He was going to go up against a villain who had, I think it was like an acid slime.
He basically has a body that is like you said, an acidic slime, which makes him change shape and stuff, and also I think he can corrode things. Don't quote me on that because I think when he captures Bakugo, he doesn't get burned.
Ah, okay.
Also, he doesn't burn the plastic from the bottles.
That's true.
But at the very least, he has an acidic body and can change shape and size and stuff like that.
It's been a while since we saw the first episode.
So, as you can tell, pretty much the idea of like the entire series is the opposition of the concept of a hero as a being who has superpowers and fights villains versus a hero as a being that does whatever is necessary, even if it is self-destructive, to save other people and be a symbol, regardless of whether or not they have abilities, powers, etc.
Mhm.
From this point on, like all cards are on the table. Spoilers are gonna be everywhere. For the record, we're up to episode 44, and we may mention stuff that is ahead in the manga, but I at least haven't read the manga, so
I don't believe it is, because one of the later episodes that we see, like Deku vs Muscular, there's been like a manga side by side of that episode, so I do think the manga is pretty far ahead of the anime. But
yeah,
it's fair warning just in case.
What I mean to say is that I don't think we're going to talk much about what the manga has done that the anime hasn't gotten to yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it may still happen.
So, with referral to the I want to talk a bit more about the character Deku as a whole, right? Because
Great. So we're going to start with the main character.
We're going to start straight off the bat with my boy, my son. I love him so much. So, in regards to the first episode, we made it very apparent that Deku runs in to save somebody despite like all odds being stacked against him. Deku is also a character who starts off very, very wimpy. He's, I wouldn't say indecisive. He definitely knows, like, he definitely takes action in the moment it matters. But he is very, I guess you could say, not shy, but he's not too assertive. Like,
yeah, I think that's the best way to put him. He is very pushover, except when he knows what's right, basically.
Absolutely.
So he has this instinct, like that lets him be a hero when it needs to be and stuff like that. He very much grew up watching All Might, and you can tell that he knows the value of heroism. But other than that, his will nature and like weak temper make him very much, again, a pushover.
That's it.
For the most part. And that is very much exemplified by his long-standing relationship with Bakugo. Because we know that he's been bullied by Bakugo forever. Like, Bakugo was very much the leader of the bullies, the guy that becomes the cool kid because he bullies the weak kid and gets all the side shows to follow him. And even now, like, Bakugo has this very present complex that he doesn't want to feel inferior to Deku because due to the way they were in primary school and stuff, he very much sees himself as superior to Deku. Or more specifically, Bakugo sees himself as superior to everyone, especially Deku.
That's it, yeah.
So that's what bothers him. But we can get to Bakugo eventually. The thing with Midoriya is that he is not only relatable in the same way that many shonen main characters are, like the wimpy nerd kid, because he's very much a nerd. He keeps track of, he memorized every power of every superhero ever.
That's it. He's very logical in the sense that, like, I don't remember the technical name, the person who came up with the theory, but it was this whole idea behind the fight and flight tactic, where, like, in an instant, a certain somebody will go through their own personal psychology and think to themselves, like, in an instant, do I fight or do I flee?
Yeah, it's a reflex. It's when you're confronted with a like life and death situation, every person has this reflex that goes, you either flee or you fight. And it's like a split second, and it has to do with a lot of psychological stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've even heard of people that don't have the reflex, like very unique cases where they just freeze.
Right, yeah. No, that sounds like a very common sort of thing. So that would appear in people.
I think for the most part, most people, when they get to like the thick of it, like very, very, again, life and death situations, the maximum possible extreme, they do have the reaction. I just happen to know about exceptions.
Yeah. I think, like, in Deku's case, like, he's on top of that. Like, he knows in an instant, what must be done. Like, do I stand and fight or do I run away, And the man just pulls out all the stops, especially in the newest episodes, dude. So we have stick bug hero Deku. You know, he starts off very wimpy, but he still has a dream, still has a desire, right? What I think is exceptionally powerful about his first, well, not really first, but his confrontation with All Might, when All Might says, you know, you can be a hero. The biggest thing that hit me is like Deku isn't given the said privilege of being a hero on a silver platter, you know? All Might's words were, you can be a hero, not you are a hero, you know? So to me, it's like Deku doesn't become a hero, he gets the chance to prove himself. And that's all he's wanted, you know? He's a character who's been quirkless his entire life. And when he finally gets the chance to become what he wants to be, and his hero tells him that, I think it's so interesting and so cool, you know? Like, it's not like he's given power straight off the bat. You know, he genuinely has to work hard for it. In the next couple episodes, as an example, he trains under All Might because in order to control All Might's power all for one, he must build his body up to it. Because All Might's power, as we probably know because we're entering spoiler territory anyway, is basically like a superpower. Like he's physically strong in all aspects.
Yeah, he's like he has super strength, but not so much in the Superman sense that he basically has like a MacGuffin that lets him be as strong as the plot needs to be.
Yeah.
Needs him to be. He just straight up is so strong that he does things with that strength that you would probably see in JoJo. Like he's basically he basically uses his strength in very creative ways, and he's also like the show does and the animation a lot too. Does an amazing and very emphatic job of make us feel how strong he is, how insanely strong he is.
Yeah,
despite the fact that he's basically told to be like 11 times as strong as a normal human. Like,
and you doesn't see it.
That doesn't sound as much until you realize that there are 11 actually trained super strong people, when compared to people that are like still within the human limits.
Naturally, then that makes sense, because I mean there was this comparison that I used to make all the time in primary school where we'd go, an ant can lift 2 times its normal weight. Imagine if that was the size of a human, man. Like, that's pretty freaking strong.
Well, and that's the premise behind Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're very into comics and stuff, a lot of comic nerds will know that usually people don't see or have a lot of questions about how strong Spider-Man actually is. But reality is, there's a couple cases where it is shown that he's so strong that he could literally, like at one point, for example, spoilers if you don't want spoilers for Spider-Man, I guess. At one point, Dr. Octopus gets swaps bodies with him, and he decides to become a hero in Peter Parker's body, and he punches Rhino. But because he's not used to holding back his strength, Rhino's mandible straight up goes flying off.
I mean, there's also the scene where he literally stops a train, you know, like, I mean, he puts his body in front of it, and, you know, he's holding his arms out, but he genuinely stops a moving train. I
would even go as far as saying that comic book Spider-Man would actually have stopped the train easy, like, no problem. But I may be wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, back with All Might, like, an emphasis on the idea of restraint is also, I remember in one of my favorite episodes of My Hero Academia when All Might goes toe-to-toe with one of the Nomus, he punches a Nomu through the building. And not only that, you see him fly through the sky and through clouds. And in doing so, the clouds create like an explosion almost. He passes through them and then air opens up where he passed. It's amazing. It's so cool.
You're waving so hard over this.
It's just like, there's so much to talk about. I mean, even in that scene in particular, I remember the OST. The OST, You Say Run, which is so good. It's like the music I call it All Might's theme, or the All for One quirk theme, because like it plays whenever All Might does something crazy with his power, or sometimes when Midoriya does it too. But Midoriya's also got his own new OST called Jet Set Run, which is like a more contemporary version of it. But everything about that scene in particular, man, the animation was on point, the voice acting was incredible, and my favorite line to come out of this anime was from that scene when All Might says, "Hey villain, have you heard the following words?" And he literally says, "Go beyond your limits, plus ultra."
Which are, if you're not well-versed on, like, if you've gotten to this point of spoilers and you still haven't watched My Hero Academia, first of all, what are you doing?
Yeah, come on.
Pause this, go watch the whole series. It's 44 episodes, but it's very much worth it.
So good.
And then come back. And second, those are like I'm stuck on with the Japanese version of the saying. Go beyond, is it?
Yeah, go beyond plus
beyond
ultra.
plus ultra. That's very much the motto of the academy, which we should probably mention that it's like supposedly this main academy for heroes. Like there's apparently no other in country or the world, or if there is, like this is like
This is more the focus of the entire series. It's based on this particular.
yeah, it's very
academy.
It's very much like the top academy of the world.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the academy of All Might. You know, like it's where he is, and All Might is voted the biggest hero in the entire world, or in that world. So I would say that that's probably the biggest reason why they focus on that area of the world, because All Might's a part of it, and soon he'll pass on everything he knows onto the new best hero, which will be my boy Deku, which I'm so excited for, man.
Which is something that I really gotta give the show that I really like and I really appreciate is that they don't dwell on it. It would be very easy for this to become a monster. Admittedly, this is more a recognition of the manga, but a lot of anime just do that and let the manga be the proper story. But I gotta recognize that it doesn't become a monster of the week show. Like it really does progress, and you can tell that stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like every time during, I think it's the second season, the show starts, they have Deku tell you, this is the story of how I became the greatest hero ever.
Yeah.
And realistically, I do expect the show, and maybe this is because seasons get made so often, like the show doesn't stop because it's so popular. I do actually expect the show to get to that point. I do actually expect to see Deku as a professional hero, like being the best hero ever.
Absolutely. Totally
Obviously,
agree.
the show would finish after that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, we expect a full-fledged story. I mean, from Arcus Brotherhood, that did that. You know, it was such a popular show.
Yeah, I think
that it adapted its full time to the manga and recreated it. Yeah. And we got a full-fledged ending, full-fledged story.
Have you watched the original anime?
Yes, I have.
Cool. One second, sorry. And that's a like very interesting comparison because I feel like because this is technically a shonen, the first thing people would compare it to, also probably because of its popularity, would be Naruto,
One Piece,
One Piece and stuff. But this is much closer to Brotherhood, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, not a single episode I've watched aside from like, you know, not really they're fillers because they're recap episodes, but aside from that, everything is kind of led into another.
Everything is arcs.
Yeah, and Brotherhood did that too. Like Brotherhood didn't dwell on points or like do something random for the sake of it, you know. It kind of just all worked. It just
Brotherhood had the advantage that the manga was finished. And I would even argue that Brotherhood should have been 20 episodes longer and actually make us go through the stuff that we had already seen on the first show instead of shortening it, like for the sake of keeping us not bored.
Yeah.
Because now it's hard to go back to it. But you know, I digress. That's a topic for another podcast.
I mean, just to finish off that topic, it's more like
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure, you know, if we had the extra time, maybe the homunculi would be way more fleshed out. I noticed in Brotherhood they were nowhere near as in depth as the original FMA. Like Lust had such a big role in the first. In Brotherhood, she was kind of there 1 second, then Mustang killed her. You know.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like with a bit more episodes on, we probably could have a bit more character depth, but I do think 50 episodes is pretty freaking good. And My Hero Academia at 44, still not finished, which is good, and it hasn't lessened the hype at all.
Oh no, and I feel like there's a long way to go.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's at least 2 or 3 more arcs before we even catch up to the manga, which is not finished.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're still at a point where we know that despite the fact that Deku's had his one quirk for so long, he still can't control it, you know? In this newest episode, you could clearly see he broke both of his arms.
Yeah, and seeing him slowly get to control it instead of just being like a plot device or something
like a one episode thing as well.
Yeah, or just the time room, was it, from Dragon Ball? I don't know names, stuff like that. It really is interesting. Like it really adds to the feeling of progression of the show. And not only him, there's a lot of characters that progress.
Oh yeah.
Which actually takes me to a character that I want to talk about only because we already started talking about, and I want to like be orderly here.
Yeah.
Is everyone's boy except me, Bakugo. For the record, I like Bakugo. I just don't know why people go so crazy over him.
I think it's for two reasons. Number one, voice actor is the same dude he did Rin from Blue Exorcist, and everyone loves Rin. Everyone loved him. And number
I don't think
two,
that's it.
his voice actor is pretty freaking good, man.
I've also heard he has like a crazy amount of female fans.
You know what? It would make sense seeing his appearance as very punk boy. You know, and I heard girls like bad boys, which is why you and I will remain single for years to come, Martin.
Yep, I choose to disagree with that statement as a form of self-hope.
Yeah, well, look, maybe time will change us. But in regards to Bakugo, I think one of the biggest things that people like about him too is the explosive personality. It's the fact that he's so outgoing and he's willing to say his mind. Like, I don't know if you know, but nowadays, if let's say you make it's still on topic, but it's a bit weird. But nowadays, you can make a post on the internet, and if somebody saw that post and took offense to it, and then a bunch of people jumped onto it, they were like, "This is wrong. We should get rid of this." The person's going to do it. Bakugo is a different story. He would be like, "No, this is who I am. This is how I stand."
He would go, "F you all, guys.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm superior or something."
I'll kill you all.
But I think the real thing behind Bakugo is that he is very much a high temperament, explosive guy, but he's forged in such a way. Like, I don't remember the exact details of how the first few episodes did this, but before I knew it, they already did it. They had already done it, which is they make him likable. They make him relatable because he's explosive, but he's not evil, if that makes sense. He doesn't feel evil. He doesn't feel like he's in the edge of being a villain, which is why we all know that he's gonna middle finger all the guys that are trying to turn him over right now, and that's gonna be super cool. And
I don't know if it's spoiler territory because I haven't read the manga or anything.
I wanted to finish this thought. Thought that he's also not an emo guy, if that makes sense. My perfect example is I usually compare him to Sasuke.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Sasuke is a garbage character. Bakugo is everything Sasuke should have been.
Yeah, well, I admit, like, I'm so used to someone who has, like, a prissy attitude to be someone who's, like, sheltered or, like, you know,
shut up,
whatever.
Mom.
The world doesn't matter, you know? But, like, Bakugo's just kind of, like, I want to be number one. And I don't know, give a crap you know, who stands in my way.
He's essentially Deku, but with a
less moral sort of compass.
I don't even think so. I think he has a very good moral compass. He's just he has like a I don't want to say rotten, but darker personality in the sense that even dark is not a good word. He is very he has a gigantic ego. That's the one difference between him and Deku.
I agree on that solely because, like, again, he wouldn't be attending a hero academy if he didn't want to be a hero. Naturally, we don't know much about Bakugo just yet. We just know that, you know, he tends to rival it out with Deku. But, like, I'm sure in terms of his backstory, maybe there's, like, a huge reason behind it, which would be really interesting to tap into. But I do agree that he's a good character. He's not a bad character, but it's more like he definitely has those, not psychotic, but very dark intentions at some points. Like, he wants to do good, but he doesn't do...
It's like he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't do what seemed to be the more traditional good thing to do. You know?
He has low patience. That's the thing. He's impatient. And I think another reason why this all works with him, that makes him different from Sasuke, is because, unlike Sasuke, in his belief of self-perfection and ego, he isn't perfect. He's constantly having to confront the fact that some things he believes or something about him makes him not as good as he could be. Like, his potential is not completely exploited, especially when it comes to the teachers. And I love that. The teachers are, like, actually teaching the kids. And he very often has to swallow his ego and, like, learn to grow in a personality kind of aspect. And I think that makes him so much more relatable, and also makes him look like an actual kid instead of like a 20-year-old in high school.
That's the thing. Like, I noticed that the characters here, they're Anunnaki. Sorry,
That's okay. You had to do it sometimes. I do it all the time.
Like the characters here, like they definitely they definitely seem like school students. You know, they're children. Okay, and it's sometimes really hard to distinguish when to draw the line as to what is a child and what is an adult. I think Bakugo is the perfect blend of a bit of both.
He's trying to transition.
Because yeah,
and I think you hit a big point here. This is a fantastic coming of age story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not My Little Witch Academia, but that's not the topic here.
You know,
like as a secondary topic, it does it wonderfully.
Yeah, it literally teaches you about growing up and what it's like to do so.
Yeah,
you know, I think it's incredible. Honestly, I love this show to death, man.
No, it's not that I wanna just go character by character. I want it to be a little bit more freeform. I just wanted to get back to like finishing the topic.
No, absolutely.
But I want to move on to a certain T-girl. Okay, I should probably clarify that the way you write Ochako uses the kanji for T.
Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to be funny. Now I feel stupid.
No,
anyways,
no, I look uneducated. Thank you, man.
Don't worry, the audience probably is on your side, so they'll probably hate me now. That's okay. Feed me with your hate. Final Fantasy 13 actually sucks.
Oh.
Come at me, fight me.
I don't disagree, but I do disagree.
Okay, take that back. I don't like it, but I don't want to make people mad. You do you.
So let's talk about T-girl then.
Yeah. Let's talk about Uraraka. Ochako Uraraka. In case you didn't pick up on the obvious explanations involving her name. Quote unquote.
Anyway.
Sorry. So, she's interesting, but for completely different reasons. Like, it's not that her character is that interesting, but it's hard to explain because I feel like she started as a very one-note character, just the romantic interest, the best girl, etc. And quickly they flesh her out to the point that she's an actual, proper, interesting character. And I find it fascinating because at first she's just there and she's like kind of clumsy, not super sure what she's doing. You may even feel that she shouldn't really be in the top academy ever and stuff. She clearly is a romantic interest to Deku, and that is another topic for later too. But the most fascinating thing is that the first thing we learn about her as a character later is that she wants to be a hero for the money, which is so simple, and then they humanize that, but letting us know that she actually wants to support her family. She wants to support her parents and stuff. And that makes her look not just like a good girl, but also like a proper human, because the greed element makes it feel wrong, but at the same time she's actually doing for the people she loves. Like she feels human and lovable and relatable in a very mundane way.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. See, it's interesting because when I first saw Araki for the first time, my assumption was similar. It was like, oh, okay, you know, she's the first girl that Deku's talked to. Naturally, that's the sort of role she has, right? But then something caught my eye initially because I've watched a fair amount of anime.
Sorry, I want to clarify for the record that we're not saying that whenever a main character in an anime main character talks for the first time to a girl, that's automatically a romantic interest. We're just saying two separate things on the same phrase.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But like in this case, I actually realized that she was a big character in like the 4th episode. And that's solely because, I don't know if you remember, but she's the first person who was saved by Deku. Aside from like Bakugo running in and trying to help out, Deku fought this huge robot thing and used his power the first time.
That's true.
When Uraraka was the person who was underneath its foot, you know, like she's the first person he saved, and I thought initially like she's way bigger, and she proved that again when Deku believes that he's not going to make it in the academy, and she comes in after and tells All Might, he saved me. Can I give him some of my points? Like, when I saw that, I was like, this character is going to be huge. I could just tell.
How interesting is that moment, too? Because it says a lot about the Academy and All Might
Mm-hmm.
without actually having them do anything because all they do is Uraraka comes over and says that, and then we have All Might just straight up look at her, say nothing, and you can at the very instant know first, obviously that's how Deku's gonna get in.
Yeah.
But more importantly, through that realization that both All Might and the Academy here being like sort of a single entity in this scenario, they clearly value that. They're clearly going, okay, the fact that she is inspired by him being a hero because he saved her without any interest, those two things are actually worth points.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point. The two things you have to do as a hero is save people and inspire them.
It was so cool how like in that episode too, because naturally I don't know if you remember, but All Might says not All Might, it was the singer. I've forgotten his name now.
Keep going.
Okay. I'm not sure the name, but it was the loud character, the one who uses like amplifiers in his legs and screams. I'm not sure his technical name. No. He's a teacher.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ida.
No, so
Prison Mike.
when after the, cause I'm sure you can cut this to the point where it needs to be. So what I thought was so interesting is that in that episode, when Araka points out to President Mike that Deku saved me, can I give him some of my points? He actually rejects her, and then All Might tells Deku that like, I mean,
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, because what happens is President Mike, I believe, tells All Might about what happened, and All Might then transfers this message to Deku where he says, in this case, like, how can we ignore somebody who literally did what a hero should do, and that's like save somebody, you know? What was so cool about that particular scene is like it reflects real life in the sense that everything's so systematic, you know? Everyone wanted points. That was their way to get in. Deku was the one person who challenged that and went like, the points don't matter, someone's in trouble, I need to help out. And that's what got him through. None of the points, it was the fact that he did what a hero is supposed to do. I think it's so cool, and it's why I love the character so much. He's got so much potential to grow, man. I love him. He's my son.
I don't want to give you any bad news, but we'll see.
Yeah, shut up. You haven't read the manga, I know you haven't.
Let's just say no, I think. Don't worry, I feel like there's still a lot of room for All Might to show stuff. Not so much for growth. Actually, yeah, maybe for growth, but only because we've seen him grow as a teacher, as in learning what it is like to teach and actually being impressed and like essentially quote unquote learn from Deku. Things.
I totally think he's gonna grow in this new arc though. I'm certain almost. Why are you giving me that look? You can't see this, and Martin's giving me like a he's holding his hands really close together and clenching his entire body. He's gonna go up against One for All.
I'm not allowed to say anything.
Oof.
I don't know that much either, so don't worry about it.
Looking at the opening by Overworld, by the way, amazing band.
They always pull it off, don't they?
Oh yeah, they're so good, my dude.
I should also take this opportunity to point out that the latest opening, I do see what Jeff means when he says that if you and by the way, if you haven't listened to the latest opening with a like a sound, like a subwoofer or like 7.1 headset or something like that, basically with anything that captures the bass, dude,
it's so good. That freaking drop, man.
But I still think the synchronization could be a little bit better. Like not so much the synchronization, the way because you know these are like full songs that are cut.
Yeah, for sure.
The way that cut is made.
So you're saying because of the whole timing of it, like the natural, it doesn't pick up till like the big bang or the chorus until quite late.
It feels to me that because of the time spent before the bass drop, and the way that the whole cut is made, the section after the bass drop feels like it suddenly ends.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the biggest reason why I want to argue that it isn't like that is because I haven't heard the full opening yet. Yeah, it hasn't been released yet.
That's true.
My initial assumption was that like that's literally just the way the song is, like that.
Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they do the song in the length of the opening, and then do the long version. Usually, the long version sucks in that sense. In those when they do that,
to an extent, yeah.
I don't think they've done it for Hiro Aka yet, but I haven't like sat down and listened to every song.
Yeah. But, what an opening though! Jeez, man.
We should probably talk a little bit about Todoroki.
Okay.
Because if we're gonna talk about the children, like not all of them, because there's like what 20.
There's so many.
With Todoroki is probably the one we should talk about that is not like within these three.
Yeah.
main.
No,
Maybe-
I'm happy
maybe-
to talk about him.
Maybe Ida too, but I think Todoroki is an interesting character because he represents not necessarily a foil, but the opposite of Deku in a very different way from Bakugo. In the sense that Deku is a character that has no quirk and is a nobody, and is very much the representation of one of the themes of the show, which is anyone can be a hero. It's more about what you do and what you see heroes as, rather than who you are. And Todoroki is a little bit of a huge compliment to that, in the sense that he is from a lineage. He is literally the son of the second greatest hero, and he's also bred purposefully to be more powerful than said hero.
Yeah, just so he can overtake the initial number one hero, All Might.
Exactly, and that gives him a lot of pressures and like big points that affect him psychologically. Like everyone in this show has a lot of personality elements, way to deal with stress. Like I would be stressed too if I was in the best academy ever.
Oh yeah.
But
Barely handle uni.
yeah, but the fact that Deku has to quote unquote wake him up really is a testament to the fact that, and this is all the tournament arc, in case
Which
some of you
is
don't know.
such a good arc.
Really good, yeah.
Very good.
The fact that Deku has to quote unquote wake him up to the reality of what being a hero is like, and more importantly to how little his lineage matters. And I think that's brilliant. Because on the one hand, you get this character who learns that lineage doesn't matter because he doesn't want lineage to matter because it's an impediment for him to become a hero. And on the other hand, you have this character who is held back by his lineage and can't really get over it. And you have them clash.
Yeah. See, it's good. Like that's what makes, because I saw Mars Basin video on this a while ago, and like, he's absolutely right when he says that what's so enthralling about the fight, despite like the fact that it's not like the most beautifully well animated thing, is like they both have things on the line. You know, they both have motivations, really strong motivations, and it's like two worlds clashing and rubbing up against each other.
A good fight should always be a conflict of ideals.
Exactly, rather than just your big bad guy who wants to destroy the world, and the other person's like, no, we can't let that happen. You know, this is two people who want the same thing, but like they have to battle a lot to prove it to themselves. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and that's super fascinating because they are both. Deku not so much, but Todoroki is definitely trying to prove something to himself.
Oh yeah,
because he sees Deku as the embodiment of All Might. Not because he knows, because the fact that Deku has All Might's powers is a secret, but only because the way his father looks at Deku. Todoroki sees him as the representation of All Might on his level, so he decides he's gonna defeat him without using fire. To prove a point to his dad. And then Deku goes, F you, you're not gonna like underestimate me.
It's your quirk.
And also your entire ideal is wrong. Like, you shouldn't care about that. It's yours. It's your quirk.
So good, man.
Yep.
Just everything about My Hero. The writing especially is what hits me home, or it hits home the most.
Yeah, they're really good at that. They're really
very good.
The show's really good at getting you to tear up, I guess.
Oh, don't get me started.
And not just in a sad way, like in a meaningful way.
Absolutely.
And also, I gotta give props to the studio. The animation is obviously amazing, but also the cinematography in it is pretty good too.
Oh yeah. No, everything seems to transition really well.
I forget what studio this is. Do you happen to remember?
I can't say that I do.
Well, it doesn't really matter. We can go back to it. I'm sure I can add it on the post, even despite the fact that
for sure.
I probably won't, and we're probably gonna get yelled at. But we're not doing this for the money.
That's it.
Clearly. I think the most interesting part about Hero Academia is this conflict of heroes. No, actually, let me rephrase that. I think I like the idea that the main topic of My Hero Academia is this idea of what a hero should be. But the most interesting part is the progression. Like, kind of the growing tale of how Deku, that has the right ideal, grows up into a real world hero. Because he still has to learn a lot of stuff, because this is not just a one-dimensional story.
Oh, yeah.
They do a great job of making you feel how he has to learn the ins and out of actually becoming a professional instead of just a student or just a kid, and how everyone else in his class actually has to do either the opposite. They have the skills, they just have to learn the difference between childhood and adulthood in their inner ways, in their ideals,
Yeah.
or a middle ground. And I think the middle ground is mostly where the quote unquote secondary characters are, because you have characters like Deku, then you have characters like Todoroki, which is the opposite in that sense. You have characters like Bakugo, which is also the like a lot of the students feel like almost foils to Deku,
Yeah, that's fair.
but not entirely.
Yeah, no, I think I can understand that. That's just, again, that's the power of good writing. Like, it's more, every character, again, as you said, has their own ideals, and you can clearly see that. Even if they only have like a little bit of screen time, it's like every single line of dialogue in this show kind of pitches at the idea that like everybody wants to be a hero, but what it means to everybody is very different. I think it's just exceptional, man. I could go on and on and on about just how goddamn well it does it. It's such a good show. Honestly, like we are blessed to have this.
Now, I really want to go over and talk a little bit about the villains.
Okay.
And I feel like the villain we should start talking about is Stain.
Interesting starting point.
Solely because he represents, well, first of all, because he's the actual first big villain defeated by our heroes.
Yep.
But also because he very much represents what My Hero Academia is about. Because he has this duality of he knows what a hero should be. He has the right idea, but the wrong methods. So you can almost see him as again, everyone is a foil to Deku. You can almost see him as what Deku could become if he had gone the wrong way. If that makes sense.
No, that's true.
And I also can't help but feel empathetic about the idea of he became this because he got rejected by the academy.
Yeah. No, it's this thing. The villains in this. We'll talk about the other ones in a minute, but like I noticed that each of them have motivation. That is a strong motivation. It's not something that's just kind of wishy-washy.
For the most part, usually when we don't see that motivation, it's because we don't know much about the villain yet.
Yeah. But I mean, of the ones that have been worked with or we've had time to like talk about, been interesting. Especially Tomura. Like I just very interesting concept behind him. But back on the Stain, the idea that a villain saved a hero because he knew like that is what a hero should be was such a powerful scene to me.
I think it's a great way to show the gray areas of the world, like make the show not just black and white.
Yeah. You know, I mean, a villain naturally saved a hero, the people that he despises, but because he realizes that's Deku is the embodiment of what a hero actually is. Like he doesn't like the fake heroes; he likes the ones that live up to the title. And you know, when he saves Deku from one of the Nomus, and he gives you that huge, powerful speech about like you know what a hero actually is, like it's insane. Like it's absolutely mental.
And it's also a great way, like a great arc for the growth of Ida as a character. Like it's not that he was a bad character or he didn't know what a hero really was before, but it really is a growth experience for him to succumb to his own personal emotions and actually grow in the way that he starts learning how he has to not give up on that. And I think that's doubly interesting considering that Ida is a character that is very formal and strict.
Yeah, he seems very assertive.
Yeah, so him being held back by his own personal attachment to the job, like he having to grow out of you should not take things personally.
Yeah,
is fascinating.
Oh
because it at the same time gives him a good thing to like a good growth path without like that, and at the same time making him more human by adding a characteristic to him that is not the same that we had already seen.
Yeah, no, I was about to say that. Like, what's cool is because we were mentioning how we were trying to like they are kids. You know, we want to try to tap into that mentality. It was so good to see that. You know, they fleshed out the human parts in Idio because you know his brother got hospitalized by this killer. You know, naturally he'd be really pissed off and he'd want the job to seek revenge. I mean, who wouldn't? You know, I think it's amazing that like he took it personally. That he was like, no, it's up to me and I need to do this. Then fails at it, but because of that failure, he realizes like, no, he doesn't be alone in the situation. You know, everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants to, you know, help people. Yeah, so like I just thought it was so cool that they took that childish element and they actually capitalized on it. They reasserted the fact that like these are kids; they're not adults. They don't know how to naturally like think on their feet and be logical about everything. Like Eddie is a child at heart. You know, his brother was hospitalized. Naturally, like he tries to be this big person, but he crumbles when it hits him hard. When it hits him in the heart, which I think is so human-y. You know,
That's fascinating that you say that because it's true. They have an amazing talent to make children feel like children, to give them flaws they need to grow out of.
Absolutely.
But they do so in such a way that everyone is like that in their own way. It's almost like somebody made a gigantic roulette of childhood flaws.
I was like, which one today?
I'm not saying that the writing is just random, but you know what I mean.
Every character has
clearly properly built.
For sure.
I want to talk a little bit about the pro heroes, just a smidge, because there are some interesting things they do with those. Particularly with characters like Gran Torino, which is All Might's teacher, not the previous owner of his quirk, just his teacher. And, well, maybe a little bit about the Wild Pussycats now that we're talking about them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're fun. Yeah, that makes sense.
For sure. I mean, I remember when I first saw the introduction, I was like, okay, yep, my hero is tapping into the fan service area, but I think they're really cool. Honestly, they, as you said, they're fun in the sense that like they bring light to the situation. You know, I mean, yeah, they're at an intense training regime, and all the kids have to like partake in terrible exercises to improve their quirks and whatnot, but they're just so happy. You know,
yeah, and they also, and I think that's a good way to contrast the rest of the pro heroes because I would say 60% of the pro heroes are very, not necessarily stern, but very serious when it comes to the job.
Yeah.
Like, they take their job seriously. They're professionals. But you find a lot of characters. Like, Mount Lady, for example, is a clear example of someone who doesn't give a fuck.
Oh, yeah. She's strong enough as is, you know. Yeah. She doesn't really need to care so much. But yeah,
and she's also very selfish.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the Wild Pussycats do a great job of contrasting that with humor because they're like, I don't remember the exact names of every member, but they are usually divided into normal everyday heroes, a little bit of like they do have fun basically, and at the same time they have like a comedic element. So I think they do a good job. Also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this the first official hero team we've seen, right? Because we've seen sidekicks, but we haven't seen a hero team.
I would say that's true. That's a good point you made. They're the first. They're the fourth. They're a team of four. They're the only set of heroes together that I've seen.
Tiger. That's the name I couldn't remember. Which is basically a Wild Pussycat that is just this strong, gigantic man.
Oh yeah, that was.
And he also has like a very serious, not serious, but a harsh personality that contrasts with the rest of the team, makes him stand out so much.
Yeah, but you can also tell, like, literally from the not newest episode, but when Pixie Bomb is attacked, you know, you can tell he cares about his squad mates, despite having this relatively serious attitude. You know, he goes, "Oh, Pixie Bomb planned on getting married. She's been worried." Pixie Bob. She's sorry. He goes like, Pixie Bob is planning to get married and been stressing out about that, you know, and how dare you attack her face.
Yeah.
You can tell he cares, which is really cool.
Yeah. But he also says something in the lines of, how dare you step on the face of that woman that despite her age is considering getting married.
And
that was hilarious.
Yeah, no, they definitely have that sort of connection though, which is really nice.
And I really feel like it would be great to see more hero teams. Like, not all the time, but maybe after a while, I would like to see a hero team that is completely different to these guys.
I mean, it was interesting, let alone just seeing our Dynamic 4 take on some of the, you know, sand golems that were made by Pixie Bob at the start.
Yeah.
Like, it was interesting just seeing the four of them interact. Like, let alone watching a team of people who coordinate their quirks together from the get-go would be so cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost want a spin-off where we just see... Like, I almost want a spin-off that is just your average comic book about superheroes in this universe.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that'd be so good.
A new hero every week. The other one that is super interesting is Gran Torino. Because he has this weird mixture of being playful in a very uncaring way. Like essentially, like he likes to mess with people.
Yeah, I see that.
But at the same time, he's clearly strong. He's clearly serious. He takes his job seriously when he has to, and he clearly is a good teacher. At least better than All Might.
Oh
If
yeah,
that makes sense. And the way he interacts with both Deku and All Might is like fascinating.
Oh, for sure. He definitely feels like a big old. I guess you could say it feels like a grandpa almost. You know, like he has
Yeah,
a sort
he has
of.
a little more, and not just because of the age, the way he acts too.
Yeah. It's like it's a bit childish, you know, but like it's something you can bear witness on when it comes to the coming of age. When it comes to like the idea that grandparents tend to be a bit forgetful here, a bit clumsy, but they're still loving people. And Gran Torino is just that. I think he doesn't show it, but you can definitely tell he cares. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, but I actually read that as he was messing with Deku.
I mean, well, technically he was he was training him, and naturally, yeah, he'd probably like to, pull a few strings when he can. But it's like, it's so cool to me because, he's so fleshed out as that archetype of I'm an old man, I know best and whatnot, but he's not like a stooge about it. I love it. I think it's so good.
I feel like I made a big boo-boo in the sense that we started talking about villains, and then after only Stain, I moved into the pro heroes.
It's all good.
So maybe let's go back to the villains. What do you think of All for One? Because we haven't seen much about him.
Yeah. No spoilers. I don't know anything about what's to come after episode 44.
We do know some stuff already.
Oh yeah, we know that. Well, from what I could gather, he probably inherited the one for all quirk, But what I've been told and what I've read, apparently his confrontation with All Might is exceptionally well done in the manga, and we're expected to be hit in the heart with feels as well as epicness. I'm so excited. But it's in regards to this character, yeah, we know very little. We know a little bit about why you're clenching again.
I don't know anything.
I don't trust you, Martin.
I don't know anything.
We're 3 episodes into Frame Fest and I already don't trust you.
I don't know anything.
We know very little, but oh gosh, what do we know actually? Aside from the fact that he's literally the head of the League of Villains, the fact that he has relation to All Might in some aspects.
Yep.
The fact that we believe inherited the quirk beforehand, but very little.
I feel like he's very much a Darling in the Franxx character. By the way, we should really talk about Darling in the Franxx again when it's done.
Oh yeah, when it's done, preferably.
Yeah, my God, let's not go there. And what I mean by that is that he's very much a character we learn about not through seeing him or seeing the things he does, but through logic. Like we can do a lot of good guesswork.
Oh yeah.
Like for example, the way he acts and talks, he doesn't seem to me like a character that is just selfish and wants power.
No, he's sinister, but he probably has a reason for it.
He seems to have like a philosophy or a reasoning.
Yeah.
He seems to, and I'm sure we will see, and I would love, I can't wait for this. I am sure we'll see him reveal another interesting mental philosophy, because when it comes to Shigaraki, we know that Shigaraki has this philosophy that he hates All Might, smile and stuff, because he feels like society is better without heroes, in the sense that heroes are just a laziness element. Like basically, heroes
you can solve your problems by yourself and shouldn't have to rely on a hero to come in.
You should defend yourself kind of mentality.
Which again, it's cool because it's a mentality that you can kind of agree on. Like I love the idea of
a little bit.
Yeah, I don't agree with his philosophies overall, but I'm just saying you can kind of see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I agree that it's important to be able to feel like you can solve your own problems, and it's essentially an element of adulthood.
Yeah.
But also I don't agree with the idea that everyone should be able to defend themselves. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it is if you're strong, your job is to defend the weak.
That's it.
If that makes sense. And
it's not like a dog eat dog world, It should.
If you're weak, you should try to be strong, but it shouldn't be on your back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think the idea that his view is a twisted version of adulthood is also another element of this idea of My Hero Academia being about a rite of passage, a growth thing.
Yeah.
Because it makes Shigaraki feel like a high school dropout in the sense that, oh, I know what an adult is. I know I am an adult, but in reality, his vision is twisted. He is very much a child, and you see you see a childhood like view on him several times, and you see him trying to grow out of that. And they do play on that. Like they do play on Shigaraki being the Deku to All for One. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What I'm really excited to find out though is a bit more into Tomura with the whole backstory element. Like we've heard it subtly that the hand that resides on his mark on his face is the hand of his father's. He mentions that in I believe it's probably his hand because.
Are you sure? I didn't know this.
In the episode where they fight Nomu, his mask falls off and he says, "I'm sorry, father." Then in the opening, you see a hand like caress his head. It seems to cater to this idea that like his father had a very, very big impact on either the person he's become or did something in the past that...
You're right. And it feels to me like a metaphor for physical abuse.
Yeah. And that's why I thought it was interesting because you mentioned the idea of like a growing sort of into an adult sort of thing. And my assumption is, I wonder if he's stuck in this stage because of something in the past, that being his father.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's also like a child, like his child, and that's it. But I do get what you say. Like, there's clearly a trauma there, and I wonder if it's almost like a Stockholm kind of thing where he feels this weight of his abuse, but also doesn't want the hand to let go of his face in the sense that he wants to be under that abuse because that's what quote unquote protects him.
That is such an interesting theory.
And I'm calling it right now. His father abused him by quote unquote trying to teach him to be strong on his own.
Martin, you are blowing my mind right now, buddy.
I'm calling it right now.
That would be such a good revelation.
Well, actually, a better revelation would be something that betrays that expectation and surprises even us. Like,
dang,
when we go like, oh shit, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean that would be a very logical sort of writing, and I'm totally down for that.
The one villain that I'm not super happy with is Kurogiri, and for the listeners, if you don't know who Kurogiri is, he's the smoke guy that makes the portals, and the one reason I'm not super happy with him is that we've seen him through the entirety of the show, and we know nothing about him. And I don't need to know much about him, but I need to at least feel like he makes sense as a character. Right now, he just feels like he works for the villain just because.
Yeah, no, I think I can agree with that. Like, we know very little of his personality, but we've had like 44 episodes to work with, you know, and he hasn't had like much dialogue at all. He's kind of just been there. My assumption is they'll probably blow it on later, but like if they don't, then yeah, that's really disappointing because
My real issue is that I feel like it would be easier right now with what we know as of episode 44 to guess All for One's ideals than to guess Kurogiri's ideals.
That is a very good point.
And it's not like, I mean, I get it. All for One is the main antagonist, maybe.
But still, Kuro has had way more screen time.
Yeah, I feel like he could make more sense. And I can give them the fact that we just don't know him yet.
Yeah, but I mean, also, like, you could subtly hint it. Like, I know animes tend to do this thing where, like, let's say that someone has, like, a tragic backstory, and they'll look to their right, and it's, like, a little photo frame of, like, maybe, like, a little girl smiling, and they'll zoom into that frame, and it's, like, cut away from it instantly, you know? You have some sense of what's going on, like, he fights for that girl or whatever.
Yeah, or simply a line he says that is not related to his motivations at all. Like, even if he says something like, I choose not to let Shigaraki be alone. I choose not to leave Shigaraki alone. That would already give you a lot of idea. Like, that would be enough to make him make sense.
Yeah.
Without making us feel like we're just starved for knowledge, if that makes sense. Because I don't need to know. I just need a hint that there is something there.
Yeah. I mean, like, if for the sake of storytelling, if they were, say, put like a 180 and like this man like betrays everybody or has like a huge
Because
thing.
that's the thing. He
For
feels like
sure.
a good guy.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like he has anything. Doesn't feel like he has evil intent. You know, he creates portals naturally and helps people progress.
I think that he just believes in All for One's ideals. So the only reason we don't know is just because we don't know All for One's ideals.
He's an interesting character, but yeah, he definitely deserves a bit more tapping into.
Yeah. And the only characters we haven't talked about yet is the Vanguard Action Squad. And like I mentioned in the post we just took, the only reason I want to talk about them is because I want to talk about this girl, Toga.
Everyone is going ballistic. Everyone's going ballistic.
She's this girl. What can I say?
Here's the thing. Okay, I'm not trying to judge people. To each their own. I don't understand the yandere obsession.
I don't think it's a yandere obsession. And the only reason I say that is because I don't usually like yanderes. To me, they're
so
like
many people
boring.
do.
But I feel like she is just... I think she's just well drawn and animated.
I will say one thing.
About it.
Her design is great and her voice actor is adorable.
Yeah, that's it.
But
her design.
But yeah, I mean, she's definitely an interesting character. I really want to know more about her, especially the whole blood-sucking thing. Like, what's that have to do with her quirk, or why did she require it?
That's another thing, too. We don't... Like, she's clearly played out to be a mistress, so she probably is a lot more important than most of these characters.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I could guess the Nomu would probably be important. Maybe Twice. I really want Twice to be important. And if you don't know who Twice is, listeners, that's the guy that always gives two answers.
He's the Deadpool of My Hero Academia.
Kind of, yeah.
He's so similar.
But the point is that there's a couple interesting characters there. And I really can't wait to see the quirks that we don't know about yet.
Oh, yeah.
I really want to see what Twice and Toga do.
Absolutely. Toga especially. Darby's interesting too. I love the design of Darby. I don't know much about him, but such a cool looking character.
Isn't he squared the Blue Flames?
Yeah.
Like, I think he has a little bit more importance than, say, Spinner, the turtle guy, or some other of the guys. Sure. But I don't think he's as important as, say, Toga.
Yeah, no, I think Toga still has a bigger impact on...
Yeah, I think he's in a middle tier just with the Nomu and the Magician.
I'm really excited, man. It can only go up from here.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like My Hero Academia is only getting better and better.
To finish off, I want to talk about, in particular, our favourite moments from the show, okay?
Oh, that's a good topic to finish on.
So, we'll start off with you. Let's try to go back to mega early parts in the series.
Oh man, you're putting me a little bit on the spot here. My favorite moment probably is from a retelling episode. Because they simply do... I don't know if it's my favorite moment.
Okay,
and it may be cheating because technically it's two different moments put together.
You go on there.
Basically what they do is, at the beginning of the show, you have a flashback to when Deku was little. And he was watching All Might and was super happy and wanted to become a hero. And his mom took him to a doctor to see what his quirk was. And they found out he didn't have a quirk. So the next time, like, I assume as soon as they got home, he was watching All Might. And he was like crying. His mom couldn't handle it. She just got to him, started hugging him and going, I'm sorry, you cannot be a hero. And then you have I'm getting the chills. And then you have a voiceover of Deku going, no mom, what you really should have told me is that I can become a hero. And then they smash cut to the one moment when he is crying on the floor, like hugging his chest, and All Might goes, yes, you can become a hero. And every time I see that, I cry.
Yeah, man. Okay, look.
It's so good.
No, that's a very good point, mate, because I personally agree that is my absolute favourite moment in the entire series. Solely because it was like episode 2 it happened, right? I was not expecting to like bawl my eyes out when I first saw it. You know, like again, reinstating that point I made earlier, like he's not given the opportunity, he's not given like, oh, you're a hero now, Silver Platter. Like he's given a chance to become one. And like Deku, that's all Deku's ever wanted.
He clearly has to work with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like we see it all the time. He has to work for it.
I thought it was such a powerful scene. And when the OST, by the way, that plays in that scene is literally called You Can Become a Hero, just to hit you in the heart more. Because you know what? They don't care. But a big point to me also, because I kind of want to ascend a little, definitely with Todoroki and Deku's fight, that was exceptionally well done. Solely because of, as we said earlier, it was the idea of two huge ideals bashing against one another. They put everything they had into that fight. And it was the first time we saw Deku fight with broken limbs and then proceed to fight with his broken limbs.
They also busted their ass animating it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm getting chills now.
For the record, I don't want to say that visuals are the only important thing, but I think animation is a very beautiful art.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have a fascination for animation, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, did I do a good job.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I do not disagree. It felt very 3D in the sense that, like, even though it was like a square platform they were fighting on, it was like points in which they would run or areas in that square actually mattered. Like, it felt like there was an environment in such a blank space. It was so good.
But they still kept the upfront clash nature of it.
Yeah. It was I wouldn't classify it as a shonen fight because it doesn't play into any of the stereotypes. It was so ballistic. It was so crazily intense, but there was no fast-paced action. It was just two guys punching it out, you know?
You mentioned that it was the first time that they could continue fighting with his broken limbs. And he had, like, serious consequences from that.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in knowing what will happen now with the current arc. Because he's very, like, he has pushed himself farther than that and hurt himself much more than them.
And that would be the topic we'll move into right away. But just on one last thing in regards to the last fight. The consequence of what he did, and that was like breaking every finger, then using his arm, remained scars, right? In the big part, and what I would say is my second favorite moment in the entire series, when Deku goes head to head with Muscular, breaks his arm, and then uses his arm again and breaks it further, to which he uses his other arm and does the exact same thing. He went way beyond expectation. And you can tell that in Kota's reaction where he goes like, I don't even know you. You've gone so far. For what reason? You know, like you can see even in the newest episode, his arms are completely useless. Yes. He can't do anything with it.
I really want to see them do more with the character of Kota, and I'm sure they will.
Oh, for sure.
But I love the idea of... I want to give a disclaimer that I probably would get tired of it if they keep doing it. But I love the idea of this kid learning what a hero is and being inspired by Deku, because by the same token that Ochako was the first person ever saved by Deku, this is the first kid ever inspired to become a hero by Deku.
Yeah.
Because this kid will become a hero.
Absolutely.
And I don't count Ochako just because she already wanted to become a hero.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Yeah, because she was the first person that Deku saved, and naturally she wants to be better like Deku. But she didn't want to be a hero because of Deku.
Yeah.
Which I think was really cool. Like that fight. Man, I was ready to cry at some points. It was just so well done.
Yeah.
And
I agree. It was so good. One of the best highlights so far. I still think it's better than the latest fight between Deku and Muscular, but I can't wait to see the one between All Might and All For One.
So excited, man. I've heard so much in the comments about how hype it's going to be. In the opening song, when you see All Might, which I thought was really interesting because no one else mentioned it, but people probably picked up on it and just don't want to talk about it. First time I'd ever seen All Might not smile. He was screaming when he was up against All For One in the opening.
Which makes me wonder what made him go.
Yeah, and that's what I'm so excited to see. I'm so excited to see him go.
Mike cannot contain his excitement to the point that he's bashing himself.
Oh man, I'm so eager.
Me too. All right, so I guess we should finish this by saying, if you've not watched My Hero Academia yet, and you got this far, and we didn't make a good enough job to make you wanna go watch it right now, what are you doing? Like, go watch. No, that's your homework. Go watch it.
There is no way that the points we've made today have not convinced you to at least watch the first episode. And I guarantee you watch the first episode, you will be convinced that this is a very different show.
Oh, wow. That's a good way to get them into it. It's like a gateway drug. The first one's free. All right. So, Michael, why don't you tell the viewers where can they find you if they're not watching this on YouTube?
If you're not watching this on YouTube, you can find me on Twitch and on Twitter as simply Mickell Pickell, which is MICKELLPICKELL. I will be on Twitch a lot more in future, but those will not be scheduled at all. Those will be live streams for the sake of live streams. My Twitter is very active. Whenever you want to talk to me about anime or anything at all, feel free to tweet.
Especially Made in Abyss.
Especially Made in Abyss. Don't give a Made in Abyss appreciation episode. Dude,
we will.
My birthday, how about we do that?
That's good.
That'd be
That's a good one.
You can also find me on Snapchat, which is simple. Simply Mickell Pickell as well. MICKELLPICKELL. And even though you're probably watching this on YouTube, but if it's not on my channel, it is YouTube/user/the Mickell Pickell, capital T, capital M, capital P. And as for you, my friend Martin, how can they find you?
I don't think capitals matter on YouTube URLs, but it doesn't matter. I think so. So you can find me pretty much anywhere at Say Stuff. That is SEYSTUFF. Mostly Twitter, Twitch, and that's about it. I haven't been streaming lately a lot, but that's because
it's rough, buddy.
Yeah,
it's rough.
It's rough. Anyways, love to have you guys on this episode. If you've gotten so far, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody.
If you want to help, just share it with everyone you know.
Yeah.
And if you're not subscribed to Mike's channel yet, what are you doing?
Come on.
Subscribe to Mike's channel.
Come over here.
Go watch My Hero Academia.
Absolutely.
All right. See you guys next time.
Take care, everybody.